Hey, everybody. So, I have the privilege today of chatting with Gina Johnson, and she is a scaling expert that is helping businesses to get to that next level. And I wanted to ask her some questions because there's a lot of changes going on in the business world right now. I'm sure you would agree, Gina.
Definitely.
Absolutely. So, as buyer behavior has changed, why is it so important now that we have a holistic approach to our business?
Well, thank you so much for inviting me to this conversation. I'm happy to be here. Why is it so important? There's the world out there. Obviously, we're in the world of AI, right? What's real, and it's so hard to tell what's real, what isn't. And I feel like being authentic is getting lost because everything is so polished and so perfect, right? You can take a photo of yourself, like of when you have your hair done and it's all perfect, not kind of crazy like my beach hair today, and literally put that in and change every image and everything is just so perfect. But really, are we perfect? No, we're not perfect. And so for me, taking a holistic approach, and that kind of goes into discovering your secret sauce, right? It's all inside of us, and we need to be us and be our authentic self because it really does come out on camera. If everything just looked so perfect and so cookie cutter, like at some point, AI is going to get old in terms of how perfect everything is, and people are going to go, ah. That's why I loved the video you made the other day because it was fun, it was playful, it was real, and I see, the trend going for me, at least for me in my coaching, where I'm leading my clients down, and I have been doing this for a long time, pulling out of them who they are, right? And so you can get a little more playful with who you are and sharing what makes you you and unique instead of like the perfect AI post and video and reels and all that other stuff.
I love that. And I do feel like our authenticity is so important here. But there are so many people that are kind of scared to put themselves out there. Do you have any advice for them?
Yes, it's so old school, be you because everyone else is taken, right? And if that actually ties into what to post on social media, and you as a marketing and branding expert, you and I are both big fans of building a story brand and Donald Miller, and I know you are certified and you teach that, and his philosophy, right? It's about like making it about the customer, right? The hero, the customer all the time. And I feel like when you're yourself, you are attracting people because of that. So if you put this facade out and this is not you and you're not being authentic, then you're attracting the wrong people. And eventually when you start to work together, you're going to clash. I remember getting a client many years ago. It's my one and only like vendor type thing that I did. It was some holistic show and I had a table and a booth and the whole thing. And I was like, what the heck am I going to do at a booth as a coach, right? So I came up with three questions, like clarity branding questions. And I ended up getting a client that I had for 2 years, maybe even three. And she was great. And I remember asking her at some point, what attracted you to my booth? What made you want to come over? And because she said, I didn't even know I wanted a coach. And she's like, the beach theme. I love the beach. And it just drew me in like a magnet, right? And we had so much in common and we worked together so well. And she was really introverted, opposite of me. And well, as a bookkeeper, she was a bookkeeper and she wanted to expand and scale and grow her business. But that was what drew her in. Now, I live on the beach now, but at the time when I launched my business 10 years ago, I didn't live on the beach. I wanted to live on the beach. So and blue and beachy themes makes me happy. So it's authentic. And now, especially now I'm redoing my website, if you look at it now, it's all beachy theme and I live on the beach. So yeah, sure it makes sense, but 10 years ago it didn't make sense, right?
Aspirational, yeah.
Yeah. So I just feel like and some other things like I love babies and it's kind of crazy, but I'm obsessed with babies. So on part of my brand, you can see me posting cute little baby videos. It's part of my brand. I
Mhm.
love to give back. It's part of my brand, right? And it makes it easy because if you are authentic, you're doing the things that you do, right? I remember making a post one time. I was at my daughter's softball game and my friend was there and she just had a baby and I picked up the baby and I was like taking a couple of selfies and I used that in my social media and I was like, babies make me happy. What makes you happy?
Yeah,
And it's just, it's still, it's actually, it's my friend's baby. It's still on my Instagram page, but it's just authentic.
right, right. And it doesn't hurt to have, cute babies, animals. People love those on social.
Right.
So,
But that's not in my brand. If I was with a puppy, my friends would be like, wait a minute, what's happening here? You're not a dog person.
right. I wouldn't have the babies, I'd have the puppies. Hmm,
See? Exactly.
exactly. And for me, I'm always putting stuff about my gardening in there. And I've even gotten a little true crime in some of my stuff, because
Perfect. And that will attract people. I know I use for me personally to give people like ideas and examples. I use like one of my programs is called Soup to Nuts. I use food analogies um in my marketing and my branding and the names of my products or my courses because I used to be a chef and it's authentic. So if I post a recipe or something, it's subtly on my brand. It doesn't really have anything to do with my business, but it's who I am as a person. And believe it or not, people say, "Oh, what kind of chef?" And I say, "Oh, pastry. Really? Where did you work? What did you do?" And it's an icebreaker because really all we're doing, I mean, is having conversations, right? Having conversations, getting together, connecting with people. That's what we do.
absolutely. And I hear a lot about people that are posting every day on social, but they're not really seeing those results. And I have a feeling it's because it's tied to this. So how would you recommend that your clients are presenting themselves on social media?
So if it's working, don't stop,
Yeah.
right? And what happens is as you know, founding business owners, right? And entrepreneurs, we're always chasing, right? Because we love what we do. We're always chasing the new thing, the new shiny object. And we want the sexy stuff is creating new content and creating a new course, a new program, or, oh, I'm going to create a course and sell it. Nobody wants to buy a course online. People want connection, right? But if it's not working, stop doing it, right? What's the definition of insanity? Just keep doing the same thing over and again. So if it's working, keep doing it. If it's not working, try something else. Try something else. Take a break. And that is kind of where the holistic piece comes in for me because I'm all about, and you and I have had this conversation about the white space. And I know you personally did my onboarding, and so you see what it's all about, right? So my advice is step back, right? Step back and then take a break from it for a week or 2 weeks. And then when you go back to it, I have some simple little questions to ask yourself, right? What are the five most common questions people ask you?
That's a big one.
That's a big one, right? What do I do next? What do I post on social media? How do I price? How do I get more clients? Right? All of these questions. And it's the things that you find yourself saying over and over again, answering these questions. And for me, when I it's a theme. Like all of my clients suddenly will be all about I'm blocked, I'm stuck, I'm this, I'm that. And I'm like, oh, okay, it's time to do a training video because people need to hear this. And it kind of goes in waves. So really stepping back, answering those questions, and this is like so simple. I have to remind this to myself, right? What would you tell a client? How would we can't see the forest through the trees sometimes. And so you have to think about that like, what would you tell a client? So if a client, if you're stuck in your business, Rebecca, and you're like, oh, I'm just so bored with this content, or I need to switch things up, right? You have to stop and you have to put yourself in the on the look outside looking in, which is why it's so important to hire experts, right? You are really good at what you do. I'm good at what I do, but we do two completely different things. And if honestly, if I had to write and if I had to figure out how to create a Google ad, gross. That's like doing my taxes for me. I don't want to do that, which is why I have a bookkeeper and an accountant. So, that really goes into, do what you love to do, stay in your lane and hire an expert to do the rest. And but not everybody has that luxury. So really, to circle back to the original question, it's getting to the heart of what people want to know, and sometimes it's a great opt-in for people too, is like take the most common 10 or 20 questions that people always ask you and answer those questions and call it an opt-in and grow your list that way. But then you could take those questions and break it down, and one could be a reel, one could be a video, or both, and then go deeper, So that's kind of like the fundamental foundation of what I'll tell people.
And I think people think they're being too basic with a lot of those questions, but you have to remember you are in your work so much. This is all second nature to you, but for a newbie coming in, those
Hmm.
fundamental questions are everything. It's all the things that are holding back their fear, you know?
Right. I love that. And that goes back to, of course, the philosophy of Donald Miller with his branding, right? Clarity sells, confusion doesn't. It's so simple, right? And I love in one of his books, he says, if you're a painter, say you're a painter. Say I paint houses. Right? But everybody's trying to make it so fluffy, especially in the holistic spiritual, realm. And people go on with this big long, I help people, blah, 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 blah. And you're like, what the hell do they do at the end of that? Right? It's just like, just be simple, be basic. So I love that reminder too to people to really take the simplest questions.
Hmm.
And I always feel like if one person has the question, everybody has the question. They just embarrassed and they don't want to ask it.
Exactly, exactly. I love that. So if if somebody is kind of doing all the things, they're doing the networking, they're putting stuff on social, they're promoting themselves in all the other ways, but they're not really seeing any traction. What have you noticed? Any trends going on lately that may be, that may be contributing to that?
So I think, as you know, I wrote a book a couple of summers ago, and I really wrote it for my clients because I was constantly giving them the same advice and saying the same things when they were down, when they were dipping, when their vibration and their energy was low. And finally, I had this one client, and she said to me, "Can you just put it in a book?" And I was like, "Hmm, yeah, all right." So it's about your vibration. So and a great way to explain vibration to people is, have you ever been in a room and the same person wins every raffle, right? Or the same table wins every raffle? Before that happened, they were having really a lot of fun at their table. They were laughing, they were joking, they were really vibing. They were like, "Oh, I'm so glad I sat at this table. These people are so fun." They were having a good time, they were in good moods. And then suddenly, wow, the same table wins, the same table wins. I love to see that because then I want to go and hang out with those people because they're high vibe. So you attract. So if you're not having any traction, if you're not having results and you're doing all of the things and you're like, I'm swinging on the pole, I'm networking, I'm marketing, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, what's happening? Why isn't it working? Because your vibration is low. And why is your vibration low? I don't know. Maybe you hang around with people that suck. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you're not having any fun. Maybe you're not doing the things that fill your cup, which is really what raises your vibration, right? I tell my boyfriend this all the time, like, go fishing. You like to fish, go fish, right? If he's crabby on a Sunday, go fishing, go make yourself happy. Or a bike ride or whatever your thing is. And for me, especially in the summer, it's the beach. So I'm happy all the time in the summer because I get to go to the beach every day. So it's sometimes it's just about your vibration, and that's where the holistic piece comes in again. So I'm not just coaching on the business, I'm coaching on you, on your life, and you want to reconnect with what brings you joy and what's fun for you and who are the people you surround yourself with, how do they add value to your life and are they fun and those types of things. So sometimes it's really as simple as stepping away. Take some more time to yourself, have some fun, be playful, and then you'll see what happens when you are in this high vibing place. You attract everything. You attract a new client. You attract, you win a raffle. You attract, oh my gosh, I get all green lights or, whatever it is. It just happens that way.
I love that. And I know that there have been so many moments as a business owner where I know that my energy is off.
Hmm.
Like for me, it always shows up in, monetary ways. Like everybody for that month will be late on their regular invoice payment. Like it's always one of those things. And I'm like, okay.
Right.
And I have to kind of take a step back and say, am I really doing enough self-care right now? And Gina, I have to say, like, when I did your assessment, so you guys, I did Gina's assessment, and it was part of me wanting to know what Gina's process is because I've heard a lot of wonderful things about Gina. So I wanted to
Thank
kind of
you.
also see her process. And she had seemingly simple questions on there. And I say seemingly because she asked, "What do you like to do for fun?" Right? Doesn't that seem like a basic question to everybody? And then she's like, "Well, when's the last time you did it?" And it's like, oh, I have no recollection of the last time these things have happened. And it's such an eye-opening experience. And it's those moments that I remember, like, okay, because being an entrepreneur can be very isolating. And it can be very, you're just in the grind doing it and trying to get it done. And there are people like Gina out there that are going to tell you to, okay, pause and take time for yourself because you cannot pour from an empty cup, right?
Yep.
So I loved that her assessment really brought all of that out. So if you guys are curious, I would definitely, get a session on the books with Gina and see that for yourself. So when people are experiencing that though, or I guess I'm curious, when should people hire a coach like you? Like, is there any signs that they're ready for that?
Yeah, I think when you've kind of maxed yourself out and then you're at that place and you're like, oh, I'm kind of stuck or what's next? And sometimes, I mean, I consider myself a scaling expert because I really do help people get to that next level, but we can't get to that next level until we assess everything. It's everything in your life, what's going on. It's everything in your business, right? So you may have built your business on hustle, 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 but that's not going to get you to the next level because you're probably fried and burnt out. So, sometimes I'll use different analogies or things with my clients to kind of throw them off kilter. And one of the examples I like to use is, we all clean our closets, maybe a little bit here and there every couple of months, but you know that probably once a year snow day kind of thing where everything comes out. Everything comes out and you're sneezing because there's dust and the cobwebs and you get the vacuum and you're right, I'm gonna buy new hangers and you run to TJ Maxx and or Amazon, you get new hangers and you put it all back the right way, like that really big one. That's kind of what I do. I'm looking at everything. I'm looking at your personal life. I'm looking at your relationships. I'm looking at your finances, your fun, your business, all of those things. So to circle back to the question to answer that, so when can you hire a coach is when you are ready for the next. And a lot of times I'll get people that will come to me and say, I'm not sure if I want to close my business or not. It's not bringing me joy anymore, right? And so I've just done some rebranding, but my old tagline was igniting the passion in your business because I would get off the calls with my clients and it was like, oh my God, I'm on fire. And I light a fire under their butt and get them moving. But I'm not really doing it. All I'm doing, that's the holistic approach, is I'm pulling out of them. I'm asking them the questions. So it's really when you want to get to something else, right? If you're like, oh, I really want to write my book, but I'm stuck. I can't get there. Or I really wanted this, but I can't get there. So it's when you don't know what to do next, or you know what to do, you just don't want to do it. You just don't have the energy to do it. So personally, for me, every 2 to 3 years, I hire a coach because that's how I level myself up because we cannot see the forest through the trees, which is why I love partnerships, right? Where we can work with each other and share each other's skill set and almost, do a little barter. And I remember I had a friend, a marketing friend years ago, Kristen, and it was a really weird time. It was around the holidays. It was slow for our business, and we just decided to do a business assessment of each other's social media and websites, and it was great. And we just bartered, and I kind of wrote all her things, and she wrote all my things, and it's really great to be able to do that, and get somebody else's perspective. And I keep saying this, but you cannot see the forest through the trees.
So true.
And there's certain points when you really need the coach for everything. And then there are certain points, and even for me, for my clients, I'll say, okay, we've gotten to this point right here. Your next step is go hire, go work with Rebecca and really like let's solidify these ads. Let's get, or a lot of times it's stuff on the back end of their website. Now
Right.
things are changing so much. The SEO, it's not what it used to be. So it depends where people are at, but a lot of times business owners, we're doing all of the things, spinning the plates, right? Wearing all the different hats. We don't know what's next and what we're missing. And when you hire a professional, this is all they do, eat, sleep, and drink 24/7. They know what's next, and you can save yourself so much time, effort, and money. Yes, of course you can figure it out. We can all figure everything out. But do you want to spend, an entire month 24/7 trying to figure this thing out when you could hire an expert and then you could have that done in a matter of a couple of days.
Yeah, I mean, life is way too short to learn from your own mistakes in that
Yeah.
case.
It's really working smarter, I think. Smarter,
Yeah,
not harder.
absolutely. I love that. Any other golden nuggets you'd like to share with people that are growing their business?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like one thing I feel like people, I don't know, sometimes we keep our shoes too long, we keep certain friendships too long. You know what I mean? We're still sporting that purse that's really hasn't been in 5 years, kind of a thing. That's why I have the purse project, right? I feel like sometimes doing the same things for over and over and it's stale, it's stagnant. So changing things up, shifting things up, and the biggest way to do that is to step away from your business,
Right.
right? It's really just to step away, have that white space, take a breather, have a break. And really that the way I help people scale is through, companies with leadership, culture, communication, having conversations. And so one of the things that is you might be networking in the wrong room
Mm,
and assess, right? I mean, just because you paid X amount of money to join a certain organization for a year, if you're not getting any results in 4 months, right? Maybe 3 months, 4 months, people say, "Oh, I'm just going to finish out the year because I already paid to be in this." Why? Take the loss. Write it off as a business loss, a business expense. Why
mm,
are you continuing to go to that meeting when you're lowering your vibration? You're not getting any ROI. You just keep going. So I guess that would be my final tip is really assess what rooms you're in, how you spend your time networking, who you're networking with, and if it's not a measurable ROI, and measurable, I mean could be connections, could be fun, could be clients, could be connections, could be a lot of different things. It's not always about dollars and cents. If
right.
it's not working, find another room and don't suck it up for another 8 months because you felt bad because you paid for the yearly membership. Get out and find another group, cut bait.
Exactly. And I mean, the collaborations are key right now, I feel, because it's just allowing us to get in front of a warm audience.
Yes.
And there's so many ways that we can find the people that either serve our clients before us, after us. So many things we can do.
Absolutely. And I tell people that all the time. If you want to build your list of people you want to collaborate with, where do they go before, during, and after they work with you? And that is huge. So this was fun.
Thank you so much for sharing all of this wonderful information for our local business owners and the people in my audience as well. Gina does do work locally and virtually.
Yes.
So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to her. Gina, we're going to include your contact info, but do you want to just give them a quick, where should they go to check you out?
I'm on every platform. Not that I recommend everybody be on every platform. I am on every platform because I have somebody who does my social media, because I want to personally understand all of the platforms. So when I work with a client, I can explain to them, this is where your ideal client probably is, that kind of a thing. But I would say I'm probably most active on Instagram. I do stories and reels, and so yeah, check me out. It's ginajohnson.co.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me. This was really fun.
This was so much fun. I appreciate it.